Malcolm X visited Smethwick on 12th February 1965. It was a midday. Jagmohan Joshi accompanied him in the car. Several members of the IWA from black communities, press were present on the corner of Marshall Street and St. Paul's Road. On the other side of the Marshall Street, a group of women led by Mrs. Grobe. They were standing in the front garden of Mrs. Grobe on the south side of Marshall Street, and the atmosphere was really charged by the women shouting, and these women were those who led the campaign for no black houses, no houses for black people on Marshall Street. They petitioned the Housing Minister Frank Cousin in London with the support of the Smethwick Council, which was governed by Conservative Party, and the shouting was going on. We don't want Malcolm X here. We need our white neighbors, and they were shouting was going on. When he disembarked from the car, I was on the front and I met Joshi, and I had few words with Malcolm X, and I explained him that there is a group of women on the other side of the Marshall Street, and we have already gone up and down the Marshall Street. Rest of the Marshall Street is quiet, but we don't know if somebody from any house, a white person, will throw something at you, and therefore it is a good idea that a group of 4 or 5 people from us will accompany you. He listened to us, and he considered our proposal, but in few minutes he said, I'm okay. I'm confident if there is anything, any article thrown at me or any brick, I will keep my eyes open and I will handle that. But I want to walk alone on Marshall Street. And that was his decision. And we from the IWA, we accepted that decision. But we kept an eye on the corner of the Marsh Street when he started walking. Also, about 5 IWA members, they were on West Park Road side to watching if any bad thing happens. He walked straight up, right up to the West Park Road. We walked slowly, not fast, because he was looking around the houses, and he seen several posters. Colored people need not to apply on the sale posters. He walked up, came back, And on the way back, there was an Afro-Caribbean guy who was painting his door when he came back. And the house next door, there was a poster stating that colored people don't need to apply. This house is for sale for only white person. And he returned. Then he has interaction with the press, and I remember one thing he said, "Oh, this is worse than in America and worse than Harlem in New York. I haven't seen such thing over there, but there are other discrimination and attacks against black people." There was conversation with the press and he interacted with the press. We didn't interfere with the press because press wanted to talk to him. Press asked Jagmohan Joshi a couple of questions. When did you invite him? Why did you invite him? And Joshi answered adequately.
Which was why? Why and when was he invited?
He was invited by in 1964 Claudia Jones, who knew him from America. She was expelled from America under the MacArthur Act. She was a communist. And IWA allied with him. He founded West Indian Gadget and Nottingham Hill Carnival.
She.
Yeah, she. And she arranged the visit and he was coming to Paris. But unfortunately, Claudia Jones, she died in December 1964. But he kept his visit on, and so he did visit. And then he wanted to witness the color bars in the public houses. And I asked him how many public houses he wants to go. He said one only. So I and Joshi took him to Blue Gates, which we knew that they operating color bar in the smoke room. Joshi went into the bar. I accompanied him into the smoke room and I ordered drink. And the barmaid, she already knew me. And she said, "You already know that my license don't allow to drink black people in this bar. You can have a drink, come around to the bar, not in the smoke room, and you can have a drink." And Malcolm said there is no point arguing. And we walked out of the smoke room, walked back into the bar room. There were, by that time, several IW members walked in, and there were about 10 Afro-Caribbean men in the bar room. He had a soft drink and he chatted with different people regarding the color bar and the situation and how we are coping with it. And members who were present there and answered his questions about the situation in Smethwick in 1965 and explained about all the atmosphere after Peter Griff's victory in Smethwick. He stopped about 15 minutes, and then Joshi accompanied him back to Birmingham University, where he was addressing students over there. So that was, and I will conclude that the atmosphere on Marshall Street was very much charged by the white women led by Mrs. Grove.
Did Shirley meet him in London as part of the invitation?
I don't remember.
Yeah, because there's a YouTube video where she was working in London at the time, and she went and met him to extend the invitation to come to Smethwick.
I don't remember that. I remember that it was arranged by Claudia Jones.
Okay, right. So did Malcolm have any advice after hearing and seeing what he saw?
He talked to us in public house. Best thing he said, keep up the fight. Only way to defeat color bar racism is by fighting it back. Keep up your fight.
And what was viewed as the significance of inviting him and the impact of his visit?
The impact of his visit, whereas Smethwick was known in Smethwick, Birmingham, and to some extent in Birmingham, with his visit, with the media publications of his visit, and it was worldwide. And Smethwick became global by his visit. In Smethwick, before it was only Smethwick, Birmingham, Midlands, or to some extent in England. That was the big impact, and that was, as I described before, it was a shot in the arm of the anti-racist struggle in Britain.
And what was the press's reaction to him?
Press is usual, asking the questions why he is coming here, why he keep his business in state, and his response was that the struggle is international, not only in one country. Yeah.
So after Malcolm returned, obviously 2 weeks later,
No, less than 2 weeks.
He was
10 days.
10 days. He was assassinated.
Yeah, on 22nd February in New York.
And given that his recent visit, what was the reaction in Smethwick, in this country?
Press highlighted his assassination. They highlighted his visit to Smethwick, but they didn't make any adverse comment. Yeah.
And did community organisations mark his passing in any way?
IW held a memorial meeting in March. Yeah.
And what would you say Malcolm's legacy of visiting Smethwick was?
Pardon?
What would you say Malcolm's legacy of visiting Smethwick was?
Malcolm's legacy is that the anti-race struggle got a lot of publicity from his visit, and also fraternal support from the anti-racist movement and black movement in United States. And from then on, IWA had a relationship with the anti-racist struggle with Angela Davis,
Michael Carmichael? Stokely Carmichael?
No. Stoke Mark, I forgot the name.
Stokely Carmichael.
Yeah, Stokely Carmichael, and some other well-known activists in America.
Okay. Clearly, his visit was a landmark, given that all these years later, whenever there's an anniversary or a juncture at which the anti-racist struggle is highlighted, people always refer back to what differences have been made since his visit in 1965.
Yeah, it is recently on his 50th death anniversary and his visit to Smethwick, which was in 2015. Press highlighted the event in Smethwick. I was interviewed by several newspapers, Sunday Mirror or Daily Mirror. They published the center spread of Malcolm visit, and many other newspapers. BBC Radio 4 interviewed me on Radio 4 program on 22nd of February 1915.
I mean, it was given the recent George Floyd and the manner of his death, it's a bit spooky that he used similar words in one of his speeches in terms of America having its knee on the neck of black people.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, that's one of his quotes from one of his speeches.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
No, that's all.
Okay.